Thank you. I hope you guys have been as touched as I have, sitting here listening to all these presentations and just seeing how God is working, across Nicks and all these schools. And I'm not sure about you, but I've seen about 10 schools I'm going to be trying to set interviews up with tomorrow. But seriously, I'm Scott Frost, and I'm here to talk about Highlands International School. The first thing we tell people, we're located in the city of La Paz, Bolivia, at a very high altitude of roughly about 12,000 feet above sea level. So we like to think that we're a little closer to God than most of the other schools here. Highlands, like many of the schools you've heard, we've been tremendously blessed. Been around roughly about 6 years, pre-K through 12th grade. We're running right around 150 students. As several have mentioned, we just received our SACS and ACSI accreditation this past year. And I could sit here and I could tell you there's so many great things happening academically, at our school, but what I really want to share is just kind of what God's doing, within our school. You see these slides. I believe Bolivia is a hidden gem. It's such a beautiful, beautiful country, but I think the real beauty is in God's children there and our teachers, our staff, the students, and the families that we've been blessed with at Highlands. The teachers, we've got certified teachers. Again, what they're doing academically in the classroom is amazing, but what's more importantly is to hear their testimonies about how each one of them, God had called them to go not only to the mission field, but specifically to La Paz, Bolivia, and to see them every day teaching these kids the Word of God, and more importantly, demonstrating God's love, in their lives. I mean, I am so blessed to be a part of the teaching staff that we've been blessed with there. And why is that important? Most of our students that go to Highlands are Bolivian students, and the vast majority of those do not come from Christian homes and haven't had very little access to the gospel or to Jesus Christ. And actually this year, as an example, it seems like we've had I guess more than normal, kids coming from tough family situations. We've had several kids who have lost either one parent or both parents, in the last year. We have many students that come to the school that come from broken homes and broken family situations, and I could tell you many stories about those, but one that I share with you today is about a second grader named Thomas. And remember meeting him and his mom in my office at the beginning of the year, just basically weeping, and didn't know what she was going to do with Thomas. And if you met Thomas, again, as a second grader, a kid that wouldn't even look you in the eye, you could hardly get him to say a word, and very shy, very introvert, and just how God worked in our lives. And so Thomas was admitted to the school, and if you could see Thomas today, and both in the classroom and out on the playground, and he's playing and he's laughing, and you get him to talk about, school, and his mom tells he can't wait to come to school. And like so many of our kids, Highlands is their safe haven. That is the place that they can come and they can feel loved, and they can see God's love and teachers that love them and care about them, on a daily basis. And I can't tell you, if you look at our campus, I guess rugged would be one way to kind of describe our campus. It's in an old brick factory that we've converted and built classrooms. And on certain days, you worry about the dirt road that you ride down in during the rainy season, whether we're going to be able to get to school or not. But I've had the blessing of having families come in about every week or 2 weeks and meet with prospective families that are looking at Highlands for their children. And I ask about, well, how did you hear about Highlands? Where did you hear about us? And time again, I get to hear from families share, well, I heard from this other family. And they were talking about how their children, are just different children, and how they feel loved and appreciated. And most of these families, again, these are not Christian families, and they're wanting to bring themselves to our schools, not because of the Christian values, but because they see a difference and they hear about a difference and lives are being changed. So I know my time's up, but as far as prayer requests, a couple of quick ones. One is for the government situation. We do live in a country that have a government that's socialist, and there's changes coming down that are not necessarily pro-American, pro-international schools. So just pray for wisdom and discernment and how to deal with that situation. And then the other thing, if you'll see at the end of our presentation, our initials for Highland is HIS. And we've always said that this is his school. This is not our school, it's God's school. And a verse, 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. And I would pray that in everything we do with these students, with these families, and in these very, very poor communities around La Paz, that we would glorify God in everything we do. Thank you.